Okay, everyone, so we are going to take those skills that we just used in the skill problems of the problem set, and now we're going to apply them to a word problem. Hanley is putting carpet in her house. She wants to carpet her living room, which measures 15 feet by 12 and 1/3 foot. She also wants to carpet her dining room, which is 10 and 1/4 feet by 10 and 1/3 feet. How many square feet of carpet will she need to cover both rooms? So here we have our question. We know it's a question, has the word how. How many square feet of carpet will she need to cover both rooms? This tells me something interesting. We're going to do some work with both of those dimensions. Next, we need our answer statement. Hanley will need blank square feet. I'm going to leave it there. Okay, so if I was approaching this problem, I'd go back. First sentence just tells me like what's going on in the story. Okay, she's carpeting her house. We know that she has a living room. Okay, and that living room measures 15 by 12 and 1/3. And we know she has a dining room. And the dining room measures 10 and 1/4 by 10 and 1/3. And you can see I used squares for living room and circles for dining room just to give my mind a visual that these are two separate things that I have to work with separately. So first we need to find the area of the living room. Okay, so here's our living room, and we're going to solve 15 times 12 and 1/3. This is our problem that we're solving. Now, I know that we're working in feet, but for the purpose of this and for time of our video, I'm not going to write feet every time I write the dimensions. I'm going to go into the solving of the problem. Okay, so the first thing I see is I have a whole number times a mixed number. So when I multiply a whole number times a mixed number, I have to take my whole number, I have to multiply it by this whole number, and then I have to multiply it by the fraction. Okay, so that's what we would do in an area model. So the first thing I'm going to do is, and just to kind of give you a visual, 15 feet, 12 and 1/3 feet. 15 times 12, 15 times 1/3. Okay, so we need to do this 15 times 12. So I'm going to do my multiplication right here. 15 times 12. 2 times 5, 10. We're going to put that 0 in the ones place value. 2 times 1 is 2, plus the 1 we just brought over. That's going to give us 3. Now we're going to multiply from our tens. 110 times 5 is 50. 110 times 110 is 100. So that's going to go in our hundreds place value. Now we're going to add those together. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 3 is 8. And then we have our 1. So we now know that 15 times 12 is 180. And now we need to do 15 times 1/3. So we've been talking about whole number by fraction. You're going to multiply the whole number times the numerator. So we're going to end up with 180 and plus 15 thirds. Okay. 15 thirds, that's the same as 15 divided by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So this is really area equals 180 plus 5, which is going to be 185 square feet. So her living room is 185 square feet. Okay, and I'm going to draw a little line right there. So now we're going to do her dining room. which is 10 1/4 feet times 10 1/3 feet. And I know I said I wasn't going to write this feet on there for time's sake. Okay, so now we have a mixed number by a mixed number. So if we are drawing our area model, 10 1/4 times 10 1/3. One strategy. Now I can also think of it this as I'm going to take this whole number and multiply it by this whole number. I'm also going to take this whole number and multiply it by that fraction. And in the same thinking, I have to take this fraction, multiply it by this whole number, and then take this fraction and multiply it by that fraction. That's essentially what we do in the area model. So if I begin to solve this, I'm going to write this out. So what we're doing is 10 times 10 plus 10 times 1/3 plus 1/4 times 10 plus 1/4 times 1/3. This expression is everything that we do when we do an area model. So 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 1/3 is going to be 10/3. So I'm actually going to write it like this and then we'll go through. 1/4 times 10 is going to be 10/4. And then 1/4 times 1/3 is going to be 1/12. We can't leave these as fractions greater than 1. So 3 goes into 10 3 times. And so that would be 3 times 3 is 9. That's going to leave us 1/3 left over. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. That's going to leave 2 left over, 10 times 8. So 2 2/4, which is the same as 2 1/2. And then we have our 1/12. Okay, so now we have some different denominators. We can't leave them like that, but we know that 12 is a multiple of these. So we're going to have 100 plus 3 4/12. How did I get that? To go from thirds to twelfths, we multiply by 4. So we multiply our numerator by 4. Plus 2 6/12. To go from halves to twelfths, we multiply by 6. So we have to multiply our numerator by 6. And then plus 1/12. Okay, so we have, let's do our whole numbers first. 100 plus 3. So we have 103. And then we're going to be in twelfths. 4 plus 6 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. So 103 11/12 square feet. Oh, Miss Ponte made a mistake again, you guys. I forgot to add this 2. That just changes our whole number. 100 plus 3 is 103, plus another 2 is 105 11/12 feet squared. Okay, so now we have, my goodness. Okay, so we have our living room and our dining room. But we're not done because we need to find how many square feet of carpet will she need to cover both rooms. So I have 2 amounts of carpet. I need to add those together. So I'm going to do that work right here. So I'm going to take the living room, 185 feet squared, and I'm going to add that to the dining room. Or I'm going to add the dining room to that, 105 11/12 feet squared. Okay, so I'm going to start by adding my whole numbers. We have 10, take that 1 over, 9, 1 and 1 is 2. I don't have another fraction to add, so that's going to be like this. So 290 11/12 square feet is our total. So we're going to move that up here. Hanley will need 290 square feet to carpet both rooms. Lots of steps, lots of using what we already know about fractions that we've learned. Any questions, please send me a message. Thanks.